Greetings from Costa Rica and welcome to this Playa Avellanas real estate market report. Avellanas could be a community that absolutely explodes over the next decade. You've already seen a ton of construction and growth in the area, and for many reasons, it could be the next Nosara. Today, as with all of our real estate market reports, we're going to be looking at Avellanas first as the community overview. We'll check out key real estate and the important spots to know. We'll look at real comp data so that you've got information as to actual values and closing prices in the community. We'll talk a little bit about the rental potential that you have in Playa Avellanas. And finally, we'll draw some conclusions about who might be most interested in investing there. If you're interested in moving to the Playa Tamarindo area here in Guanacaste, do be sure to send me an email to matt@cbpacificrealty.com. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications button because every week we're going to be doing real estate market reports on different communities, projects, segments of the real estate market here to empower people to make better decisions. Without further ado, let's start talking about Avellanas. And really, it's simple to figure out why the community attracts so much attention. And it's one word, and that is surf. Playa Avellanas has a break that many people here in this area would call their absolute favorite. It is consistent. It's a wave that you can find some different spots where there are good learners' opportunities. And it's also a beach where you can find some really good, more advanced surf action. The beach also has great swimming conditions at many times of the tide fluctuation. So it's a perfect spot for vacationers. For a little bit more on our community overview, let's talk to Camille, who just joined our office and who has lived in Playa Avellanas for over a decade. Tell me about the community, what it's like, and how it's changed in that time.
Well, I've seen so many things through the years. Of course, 10 years is not a short time. So I went there, I settled there because it was off beaten path, beautiful beach, still remote, but close to Tamarindo. Still, so if you want to go to Tamarindo, it's just a short drive on the dirt road, and good surf and a very nice community, like a community who moved here for most part when there was nothing, there was no road, there was no electricity, there was no water. So this is how we found it when we decided to move to Avellanas. Then, well, of course, life happens. Costa Rica has been growing touristically a lot. So at first, the first few years, we saw the tourism growing. So we're like, oh, great. So by that time, we had some cabins and we're like, oh, great. We have a better occupancy. People start to know about Avellanas. Well, Lola's obviously has to be mentioned on the beach, which is an institution where people travel to just to have lunch on the beach. And then after that, we're starting to see expats coming to invest here and live here because they love the country so much, right? And then, well, Avellanas could not be a secret spot for such a long time. It has been, but I mean, somebody had to discover this beautiful place. So, of course, then we started to see some expats. At the beginning, more of a surfer expats community coming to move to Avellanas. And well, then, of course, recently we had the water accessibility, which was not available before. We used to have our own wells. So the water changed a lot the real estate market. Not so much the community, it's just that now you could buy something with water in Avellanas. So then we had more people come in, being sure that the well is not gonna get dry, Yeah. So this was the first step, and then COVID. COVID happened everywhere, and so it did in Avellanas as well. So then we have remote workers who decide to relocate, and also Avellanas has become the interest of developers. So there are, as of today, there are 2 big developments going on in Avellanas, and this has changed dramatically the scenario in the community, because now we've seen like buildings, like, you know, a few houses together in a condominium, which you wouldn't see before in Avellanas.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to think about the mentality of the people who moved there 10, 20 years ago.
Yes.
And there are lots of places in Costa Rica where you see the original expats who come into an area before it's developed, before there's good road access, before there's even water. They're kind of the purists who are really just looking for that kind of style of life, who are passionate about the surf, the beach lifestyle. And nowadays you have people moving there with a totally different mentality. Avellanas is an economic opportunity, whereas 15 years ago, you didn't see people moving there for that opportunity. Today, you do have developers snapping up land in the area, because with that water access, they're able to put together developments in residential communities. So anyhow, thanks very much for commenting, Camille. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Excellent. So the surf was a big part of the reason that Camille and her husband stayed in Avellanas the first time. I want to show you a 3D view from a drone flying over this surf break in Avellanas, so you can get an idea of what the beach and the break look like. Welcome to our 3D world here above Playa Avellanas in beautiful Guanacaste. If you want access to this tour, be sure to send us an email to info@cbpacificrealty.com. We have tons of cool little mini tours within this bigger world. So first of all, here we're above Avellanas, and looking to the north, you first see the Avellanas neighborhood in exclusive Hacienda Pinilla. These homes are multi-million-dollar beachfront homes. There's actually one listed for sale at $15 million right now, but this is all Hacienda Pinilla up here to the north, and down here from the river mouth to the south on Playa Avellanas. First, you have the mangrove estuary with a little walking access that you can see here. Down directly below us, you have Lola's and La Puruja, the famous restaurants. Really, the landmark is Lola's down there at the beach and right in front of a ton of good surf. And to the south, if you wanted to, you could explore more beaches in Negra and Junquillal on the same tool, no problem. But for now, what I want to show you first, we have 2 360-degree drone flights over Avellanas Beach. One is stationary. We are looking at that here and now. And this one, you can actually just look down at the water. The drone doesn't move throughout the flight. You can just enjoy a gorgeous afternoon here. The other drone flight that we have is actually moving and flying over the surf. So as we go over the surf here, you can see people peeling in. I counted at least 15 or 16 surfers in this frame near here alone. As you go up, there are even more surfers, and you definitely hear people saying that Avellanas is becoming a little too popular for their tastes and that you wouldn't have seen this many people out here surfing in the past. The really cool thing about this 360 tour is that you can stop at any moment and scroll around. You can also, by clicking and dragging, manipulate the flight while you're moving. So if I hit play here, you can look down and even watch the surfers and follow the action as it happens. Here we're seeing just how many people there are. Really interesting here as we come a bit further along. I think you clearly see in the waves as we're flying over this little shadow here out by the surfers. There are some neat Easter eggs in these tours that you might want to look for. In my personal opinion, I think that this is a turtle. Swimming underneath the waves just by its shape. It could be something else, who knows? But anyway, we're just loving these 360-degree drone tours. Again, if you want access to this, just send us an email and we'll give you the link. Again, you can see as we fly northward along Avellanas, there were dozens and dozens of surfers over there, and really just a ton of breaking surf along which people are enjoying themselves. And as we get up here along the river mouth, obviously that is arriving at Hacienda Pinilla, as we previously had mentioned up here. So anyhow, you also have stationary places where you can watch the beach, the surf roll in here from Avellanas itself. All of these tours can be manipulated by just clicking and dragging. You can even zoom in and see what's going on. Zoom out. Here we have surfers walking by. So everything is very cool in this little area. And if you want to take a quick trip to the beach, just let us know. We'll send along the tour. Let's talk about some key real estate in Playa Avellanas. And first and foremost, obviously you have the landmark spot, Lola's, a beachfront restaurant where virtually anyone who's visited the community in the last decade has been to Lola's, because it can be one of the only things to do in Avellanas. Lola's now has a restaurant next door called La Peruja, but absolutely with their direct beach access and the location in the community, Lola's sits in the middle of Avellanas in front of a great surf break where you've got a public parking lot and just perfect access to the beach. It's absolutely sort of that central point that's important to the community at large. There are 2 developments, gated communities, that have sprung up ever since Avellanas was serviced with the new water connection to which Camille had alluded. You have the Point and the Enclave. The Point is really close to the beach on the side of town towards the community of San Jose de Pinilla, and the Enclave is actually located towards Lagartillo, the beach to the south. The Enclave is a few blocks back from the beach, really sort of tucked back into farmland, whereas the Point, you walk across the street and you can take a jungle path out to the beach. The Point has 28 condos, 2 and 3 bedroom units that all were sold in 2021. Those are smaller condos that had prices in the mid to low 200s. Again, they all sold. There was a flat 2-bedroom unit, a 2-bedroom unit in 2 levels, and another 3-bedroom unit. You also have at the Enclave 51 total projected homes. These are much more substantial. They start with a 3-bedroom home that's significantly larger. And whereas the Point, you had price points in the mid 250s, at the Enclave, currently you're looking at an entry price point of $450,000 for their 3-bedroom home. At the Enclave, you have units radiating around pools. I believe they have the first phase of either 10 or 12 units completely finished. The next phases are in different stages of their sales, but they definitely have more that are already sold and will be under construction. The Enclave definitely feels like the homes will be better for people who actually want to spend a lot of time in the units themselves, whereas the Point would be more comfortable or better use for rentals. Both of those developments were made entirely possible by the new water service that was brought up to the area only a few years ago. Let's talk about land values. Those are very intimately related to the water service as well. You have seen now in the area that if you have an undeveloped lot in Avellanas with public road frontage, the recent sales of small lots have been at prices of as much as $112 to $130 per square meter. And that's for these parcels that are under a quarter acre or under 1,000 square meters. We're talking 600, 700, 800 square meters with easy access to Avellanas one way or another. At $130 a square meter, you would absolutely expect that a lot has to have an existing water letter. If it doesn't have a letter, I've seen property listed at much lower prices where you're paying, I think $70,000 or $80,000 for a 5,000 square meter parcel, but one without water on a farm road where really you don't have that development potential. Really importantly, you've seen some bigger pieces of land in the area sell. And recently, in May of 2022, there was a 2.3 hectare piece, or that would be about 6 acres, that sold at a total of $45 per square meter, or just over $1 million total closing price. That hectare and several other larger parcels had all closed in that $40 to $60 per square meter closing price. Importantly, there are a total of 11 hectares that are under contract. That's probably 25 to 30 acres. These 11 hectares are what's called Avellanas Village. They were listed at $69 per square meter, and they have the potential for 80 water hookups. This 11 hectares is under contract, and its location right next to the beach suggests that there is further development coming in Playa Avellanas. And really, when you look at the community, you can see that the recent sales demonstrate that virtually anything with water letters has sold in the community. And so you can expect Playa Avellanas to continue developing. Let's discuss rental potential in the community briefly. Really, Playa Avellanas is a place that would have lots and lots of organic surf tourism. If you were to just directly market to surfers, if you had a rental property in Avellanas, you will be successful. And to generate that rental potential, you're going to try and find a property as close to the break as possible, because everybody in that surf tourism world dreams of walking out to a perfect surf break every time of year, and that's really how you could drive occupancy higher. Beyond surf, Avellanas will not attract a lot of tourism to it because you don't have many other large anchor businesses or, big corporate entities that are attracting people from the outside. You do have wonderful boutique hotels. There's Cabinas Las Olas, there's Soulshine, a number of other smaller places, but nobody is out there attracting people to Playa Avellanas itself. You're either getting people who are coming down for surf tourism or repeat visitors who have been in the area before and found a rental somehow that way. To conclude here, you are guaranteed to see Playa Avellanas grow in the future. It is an absolutely wonderful spot for swimming, for surfing, and it is just too close to Tamarindo to not have some spillover in terms of development. If you don't want to see a community grow and you're looking for a quiet area, Avellanas is probably not the right location, but it could absolutely be the right place if you hope to find a community with an expat population that's going to feel more like you have a permanent year-round community to interact with. You do also have very easy access to Playa Tamarindo. just heading north if you live on that side of town. You can get into Tamarindo in 15 or 20 minutes. So while Playa Avellanas is just in the initial stages of its growth, every moment that you see new water access granted in that direction, you're gonna see more growth with it, and the property values in that area are gonna continue to be strong in the years to come. As always, if you wanna stay tuned for these market reports, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Click here to watch my report on Playa Grande, a very similar beach in many ways where you're about to see a ton of growth.